Students that struggle to find the appropriate evidence in a text when answering higher level thinking questions? Do you have students that underline everything under the sun when it comes time to taking notes or looking for keywords? Do you have students that struggle to understand just what is important and to focus on, and they tend to just focus on everything instead of really focusing on what's important? Maybe you have students with attention deficits and things that are really holding them back, and they need a strategy so that they can be successful when it comes time to listening comprehension. Hi, I am Hallie Sherman from Speech Time Fun, your speech language pathologist that is always here to help you plan with ease and confidence when it comes to working with your older speech students. And today I'm going to be talking, because you guys voted on it, on working on relevant and irrelevant details, right? A text is going to contain both, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and we need to teach our students explicitly what is important and give them a strategy so that they can be successful in knowing what to focus on and what details they should use to answer a question or to determine the main idea or key story elements like character, setting, problem, solution. What is important to focus on? So if you're joining me live or the replay, let me know. Do you have students that struggle with this? Do you have students that are constantly underlining? Do you have students that struggle with just reading comprehension in general? Let me know, because any student that, if you said yes to any of those things that I mentioned above, your students are going to benefit from some of these strategies. Now, do you need a goal to be working on that? No. Your goal could be main idea. Your goal could be attending to significant details. Your goal could be summarizing. All those things require the relevant details and to know what to focus on. So I'm going to just show you some quick and easy ways to work on this, which does not require a ton of prep, and it's interactive and fun and motivating. So one thing I love to use is Jamboard. Whether I'm virtual or in person, I'm in person, but I still love to just display it on a Chromebook. I wish I had a smartboard. If you do have a smartboard, you're super, super lucky, but any sort of device, and you could honestly do this with a piece of paper and some sticky notes or just paper cut up, but who wants to waste paper and who has time for that? I'd rather prep it once and have it on my Google Drive forever. So I love using Jamboard, where I can easily just click here to add a picture, find any picture that is relevant to my students, and I can have them sort relevant and irrelevant details. So I'm going to scaffold it for them by first giving them all of the details to sort out. So this way, before they even have to determine this, filter out from a lot of text, I'm going to give them just six sentences. What is important from the picture? What will help us understand if I was an alien to really truly understand what's in the picture? If I can't see it, what is something that is important? Is it important that the chairs are red? Is it important that there's a boy in the hoodie? It's more important, but let's get the gist. What's the whole thing about? It's a picture of a teacher and students in a classroom. So which details go best with that main idea, and giving them that framework to figure it out and to self-check and self-reflect on their own responses. Okay, so you can easily pull up a whole bunch of different pictures and set this up once and be done. Again, I have students that love soccer, so I'm going to do a soccer one. And then, of course, you can, if you wanted to do, then take the same framework and use a text. You can copy and paste from any sort of paragraph, and again, giving them those sentences to sort right here on Jamboard. So I love using Jamboard to be able to quickly create a sorting activity that teaches my students a strategy so they can see explicitly what I'm referring to when I say, okay, what details are important and why or why not. Okay, so what the next way that you can work on relevant and irrelevant is also teaching your students some practical situations where it might be important, like a news broadcaster. If they're telling a story about something that happened in the news, they need to tell things that are important. They don't want to give too many details that are not relevant that can confuse the audience. So you can also use that as a way to introduce the concept with your students and really see how it can affect other aspects, not just academic. Okay, while you're teaching your students this concept, I found a ton of, there's like a thing on quizzes, and this I found on study.com. I gave you the link in this above this video where you can teach your students like what is a relevant sentence, and there's a quiz, and there's a whole bunch of like flashcard things here. Just some more ways to just practice and understand like what is not important to a text and why or why not, and just making it like, it's a fun little video. It's almost like brain pop. So it's just a fun way to practice and get more and more exposure to the concept and why is it relevant to them and how can they use it in their classroom. And again, also even a lot of our students also socially, when they're telling a story or personal narrative, what is important that will really get the message across. Okay, another way, I have 4 different ways we can practice and working on. I added you the bonus one of talking about a news broadcaster. Anyway, so one was using Jamboard to practice sorting the details from relevant and irrelevant, what's important, what goes with the main idea and not. You can use that study.com. You can also just talk about different social scenarios when you need to tell details that are important only. And next, I have a Kahoot. My students love Kahoot. I don't know about you. Let me know. Your students love Kahoot. I gave you the link to this one as well, where it has a picture, and the students have to tell from the choices which one is important. And then you can, I love Kahoot because you can decide when to move on to the next one. So like after they all answer, you can open up the picture again and discuss it. Why does it go with that picture? Why is it important? Why are the others not important? Because it doesn't go with the whole thing. What's that whole thing about? The whole thing is about who it's about and what happened to them. Who cares what they're wearing? Who cares what is in the background? It's really what to get the gist of the whole picture to get is what is important. Okay, so this Kahoot can help you practice a little bit further. This can be just at the end of a session, just to review. And then lastly, I wanted to share with you, I do have a TPT resource that is a paper version and a boom card version that uses this strategy to teach it in a text form. So here you can see, I give you a simple 1-paragraph story, and then I give you the strategy right there. What is the main idea? So who is it about? And what happens, so they can think about it and look and listen for it while you are reading it to them or they're reading it aloud. So it's about Allison and Blair. And what happened to them? They are fighting over the remote control. So now that we know that what the main idea is, we can go through the different details and sort it out. In the paper version, it's a cut and glue version, but the boom card obviously is sorting just like the Jamboard. Okay, they got to watch what they wanted for 15 minutes. Was that important? They were arguing over the remote control. Animals live in the jungle. Does that have anything to do with people fighting over a remote? They decided to take turns. It was in the afternoon. Did it matter that it was in the afternoon? It was a Tuesday. Yay, I get to move on. And then, of course, I always include some higher level thinking questions so you can practice using the evidence that was relevant to answer the questions. In the paper version, it's just a blank piece of paper, but here they can self-correct. They can verbally say it, and then you can self-correct, self-analyze their responses. But it's a way of not only taking the details, but how do we figure out what is important by using that main idea? Who is it about and what happened to them? Saying it out loud so that you can self-check, okay, going through each detail, does that go with the main idea? And then now that we know what the whole thing is about and what is important, we can now answer higher level thinking questions and refer to the evidence that which were the important or the relevant details. We're not going to focus on the irrelevant details. Those details are not going to help us. That's not going to be our evidence because that doesn't have to do with the main concept of the story. Okay, here I share with you 5 different ways that you can work on teaching relevant and irrelevant details with your students, which will help them, 1, improve their main idea. Can't know what's important to recall, they're not going to be able to do the main idea and summarizing, and so they need to know what to focus on so they can get to the next level. And no matter what level your students are working on, we need to teach them what goes with this, what has to do with the story and what does not, so we know what to focus on so that we don't have to overwhelm them with so many details, and we can show them that if we focus on only what is important, we can be more successful. And it's not going to be so challenging. And that we are here to help them. And what we're doing in the speech room, stay relevant outside the speech room. We can show them how they can use these skills that we're teaching them when they leave our speech closets. So I hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful and you can use some of these ideas. I share with you again the link to the relevant, irrelevant resource in my TPT store, the Kahoot, and that it's study.com activity that has a video talking about relevant, irrelevant details that you can use to just practice and get some more exposure to this concept. Okay, so next week on Speech Time Fun Live, you have 2 choices again, and your choices are the ones that help me decide what topics to go into more detail with on my weekly Wednesday lives. Do you want to learn more about predicting or comparing and contrasting at a text level? So not like apples and bananas, but like comparing characters or comparing 2 texts or comparing a character from the beginning of the story versus the end of the story, or predicting. So predicting or comparing and contrasting. You let me know, and I will see you next week here live on Speech Time Fun Live. Take care, everyone.